And
I
people
tell you,
coming
we
for
had
y'all on them
look.
shots. I just
I
want you.
tell you, we had someone who wanted to come in.
That's what they
He
lips
was
say.
his lips was ready to come in.
Yeah,
Joe
that's what they
Joe
lips
Levine,
say.
hey, Super T, Joe Levine wanted to come on.
Oh
Who?
man, you should have brought him.
Joe Levine,
Gerald Levine.
Joe,
Joe.
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 Oh no. I think Joe a mole.
You live. We is live. Good evening.
Unfiltered, unedited.
And I promise that he right here at the Round Table Talk. Right here. Man, good evening, family, and welcome back to the Round Table Talk Show on the Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. I'm your host, Christopher Jones, and of course, as you know, it is definitely another Tuesday. And I want y'all to know we live. Yes, indeed. Tonight we're stepping into one of those conversations that people either run from, laugh at, misuse, over spiritualize, even over legitimize, or turn into internet foolishness. And that's what I've been seeing here lately. So it prompted me to come up with this episode or this episode topic, right? And so tonight's episode is called The Sovereignty Question. Right. Negro identity, nationhood, power, and the burning house we still live in. Now, let me set the record from the jump, just so y'all can get it together. This episode is not about fantasy. It is not about magic paperwork. It is not about pretending laws do not exist. And this is not about telling somebody to walk into a courthouse or on a traffic stop or in your tax office or go to your bank or your government building talking reckless because somebody online sold you a script as they do not understand. Most people do not understand. That is not sovereignty, you all. I just want you to know that's confusion with confidence. So tonight is deeper than that. Tonight we're asking what sovereignty means for Black people, especially in America after centuries of forced labor, land loss, displacement, reconstruction, betrayal, segregation, surveillance, political manipulation, economic extraction, identity, disruption, and spiritual warfare. Who are we in this country is the question I definitely want us to understand. Not emotionally, not just culturally, and of course, not just when it's time to vote, or time to entertain, or time to forgive, or time to fight in America's wars. Not just when it's time to save democracy for everybody else. Who are we politically? Who are we economically? Who are we spiritually? Who are we nationally? And as citizens with power, who are we? Or are we just subjects under management? And I have to hit that again because I want y'all to really understand what that means. That's the question tonight. And family, let me be clear. Black people have been wrestling with this question for generations. And I do mean generations. W.E.B. Du Bois talked about double consciousness, that two-ness, if you will, of being a Negro and American inside a nation that forced Black people to see themselves through the eyes of a society that despises them, if you will. In The Souls of Black Folk, Du Bois wrote of two souls, two thoughts, two unreconcilable strivings in one Black body. That was not just poetry, y'all. That was political diagnosis. That was 100% a political diagnosis. Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish science temple pushed nationality, self-respect, spiritual restoration, and identity beyond degraded or degraded slave classifications, right? His movement And I do say strong movement taught many black people to reject labels like black, colored, and Negro as imposed categories and to claim Moorish nationality while also emphasizing civic conduct and uplift. Mind you all, Malcolm X told us that struggle had to move from civil rights into human rights because civil rights keep your case trapped inside the same government or the same governing accused of violation, right? Especially when they're violating us. Human rights put the matter before the world, the entire world. And so that's what one of the things that we're going to be doing. Fred Hampton was not just talking about talking loud or obnoxious like most of our counterparts claim. He was organizing free breakfast programs, political education, coalition power, community defense. The state did not fear isolated black anger the way it feared organized black autonomy. Just want you to know that. COINTELPRO, which is one of the FBI's counterintelligence programs, targeted civil rights and black liberation movements, including the Black Panther Party, through surveillance, disruption, and infiltration. And then we have folks like William Loring Katz, who wrote Black Indians. A hidden heritage reminding us that our story is not as clean and simple or government issued as America tried to make it. African and indigenous people built relationships, families, alliances, maroon communities, Black Seminole lines, Afro-Indigenous communities across this globe, and land-rooted histories that white record keepers often erase, misnamed, or intentionally bury. So tonight we're not inventing a new question. We're picking up an old one. What does freedom require beyond voting and visibility? And if generations fought to either enter to the house, but ownership remains concentrated, wealth remains unequal, land remains unstable, power remains conditional, then maybe the question is no longer just, can we integrate? Maybe the real question is, what does self-determination actually look like for the Negro in America now? Family, drop your city in the chat. Drop one word that comes to mind when you hear sovereignty, and answer this question before we actually get started. Question is, do black people in America have power, or do we mostly have access to someone else's power? Let's get to work. I want to definitely bring in my crew, but I don't want this music over my crew.
What?
All right, there we go. I just put that out there. I hope our platform host heard that. I don't want that music, please. Let me bring in the roundtable crew. First up, my big sister, Dr. Catherine Campbell. Say good evening to the people, Queen.
Good evening, people.
Absolutely. Dr. Campbell is precision. She cuts through emotional fog and gets straight to what people are trying not to say. Tonight, big sis, I definitely need that clarity because this topic can get a bit messy fast. So when people start mixing identity, law, pain, pride, fantasy, and fear all in one or all in one pot, Dr. Campbell, I appreciate you being here.
I'm going to stir it up.
Already know. A bouillabaisse, not a gumbo. This not no gumbo. Oh, man. Welcome to my big brother, Paris. Say good evening to the people. If we could get Tony to turn this rock music down. Oh, how about it? Tony, turn our music off, please. And Dustin, don't egg him on with your bobby. What's up, big bro? Say good evening to the people, man.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's the voice of the writer, the data analyst, the pattern reader, receipt puller. Perry follows language, law, history, money, and structure. Tonight, we need those receipts because sovereignty cannot be reduced to vibes. I want y'all to know that. It has to be measured against land, institutions, economics, political leverage, and reality. Welcome to the table, Perry. And of course, my little brother Dustin Harris is definitely in the space. Say good evening to the people, brother.
What up, people?
Yes, indeed. That's the voice of the veteran, straight shooter, ground level truth. I want y'all to understand that Dustin brings it down to the household, to the block, to the working person, the veteran, the young brother and sister, the family trying to figure out what freedom means when bills, policing, debt, rent, and land loss, of course, survival, still controls the day to day. Dustin, welcome in. Of course, and if you know you're in the chat, we definitely welcome you. If you want to join us in this in these endeavors, by all means, please feel free, feel froggy. Jump up here, ask our platform host for the link so that you could join us. But I definitely want you to know we bring in the we're gonna bring you right into the fire because this conversation needs more than opinions. It needs grounding. It needs somebody willing to say, let's be proud, but let's be precise. Family, we're not here to make sovereignty spooky. We are definitely here to make it plain, though. So let's get into round one. Y'all ready for y'all shots? Say yeah.
Ready?
Yes, indeed. Round one of our shots, our chaser. Man, please somebody call Tony and tell him turn our music off. He must have went fix him something to eat. I'm not gonna,
That
I'm
brother
not gonna,
back in his old KJET days.
thank you,
You
sir.
put
Thank you,
put
sir.
on that Isaac Hayes and leave and go see somebody around the corner.
I forgot I left that noise on.
Man, please don't forget no more. The
Oh
other one I
man.
would have been able to take, but that rock, I'm not. Yeah, I'm
Ooh.
eclectic, but not that eclectic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So our round one shot, the chaser for this shot, of course, is who are we in this country? Citizenship, nationality, and the politics of being managed. Of course, like I said, this is round one. This is the foundation. Who are we in this country? Because the answer has never been simple, as y'all all know. This country has called us African, Negro, colored black, African American, minority, urban, disadvantaged, at risk, diverse, underrepresented. And every time the label changes, we are expected to adjust ourselves and our identity while the structure that controls us is stays mostly intact. That's not a small thing, y'all. I just definitely want y'all to know that's not nothing small. A people repeatedly named or renamed can become easier to administratively manage. A people disconnected from lineage can become easier to, I guess, redirect. A people taught to chase access over ownership can become easy to profit from. We told y'all that in a few episodes ago, so go check those out. I think it was episode 59, if I'm not mistaken. But a people trained to celebrate representation without control can be kept emotionally engaged while structurally denied. Now, let's make the language clear before anybody runs wild with this, because I know some people will. Citizenship is your legal relationship to a state. It involves rights, duties, protections, obligation, jurisdiction, and recognition under that government. Understand that. Nationality can mean legal belonging, but it can also speak to peoplehood, heritage, cultural memory, even political identity, and collective consciousness. Sovereignty, on the other hand, means authority, the power to govern, control, sustain, defend, and direct yourself and or your people. Political autonomy means the ability to make decisions for your community with real power, not symbolic participation. Okay. So when we ask the sovereignty question, we are not asking whether Black people can ignore laws. We're asking whether Black people meaningfully control the systems that shape our lives. Can we feed ourselves, educate ourselves, protect ourselves, own land, controlled economics? Can we share policy? Can we preserve culture, sustain institutions? Can we defend our children? And I'm not just talking about your household child. Can we bury our dead with dignity? Can we protect our elders? What about building beyond reaction? Can we do that? Because if the answer is no, then we definitely have to be honest, because um, you can have citizenship papers and still lack sovereign power. You can have voting rights and still lack political control. Ask them, they'll tell you they're doing it right now. You can have representation and still lack self determination. Ask somebody. Hello? I mean, you can have and access and still lack authority. One of the main things that I used to always say, well, at least we got access. Now that don't work no more. This is the conflict in the first round. I want y'all to know: citizenship versus sovereignty, legal belonging versus actual power, representation versus self-determination. Dr. Campbell, you ready for your shot? I think I softened that up. Um, um, how do Black people become citizens legally while still feeling politically conditional?
Well, Black people got citizenship through the 14th Amendment in 1868. They were born here. If you're born here, you're a citizen on paper. But politically, uh, conditionality stayed because laws and violence still said you're a citizen, but only if you stay in line.
Mm,
Don't demand too much. Don't and accept and accept secondhand treatment. So legal, yes. Politically, no, unless you fight for it every day.
absolutely. That's the tension right there. Legal citizenship and full belonging have never meant the same thing for our people. On paper, citizenship can say one thing; in practice, the police stop can say another.
You're
The
right.
voting map can say one thing, the bank loan can say another. The school district can say another. The prison population can say another. The hospital outcome can say another. The neighborhood investment or the lack thereof pattern can say another. That is why Black people can be citizens and still feel conditional. Because America, like Dr. Campbell said, often activates our citizenship when the system needs something from us. And
Exactly.
I want you to know that need our labor, we American. Need our vote, we are American. Need our sons and daughters in the military, we are American. Need our culture to sell national brands, we are American. Need us to forgive the country after public injury, or you threw that in our face like we was gonna say something because you just decided to create a money funnel account to give to your tyrants. Mm, mm, mm. But you need us to save democracy, we are American. But when we demand repair, ownership, protection, land power, accountability, inheritance, and the right to defend ourselves beyond their category or y'all's category, because some of y'all that's watching trying to put us in there too, suddenly America starts talking to us like tenants in a house we help build. That's the conditional citizenship. That's why the sovereignty question refuses to die, because at some point a people gets tired of being called American only when America needs them. Perry, you ready for your shot?
Yes, sir.
Man, man, I'm gonna try not to get emotional.
Mm, too late.
What I know, right? Perry, what happens psychologically when a people, hear me well, y'all, when a people are repeatedly renamed, reclassified, and administratively redefine?
Well, when you, I mean, when you say renaming, that sort of normalizes what it is, but at its core, it's identity destabilization.
Right.
When you can define yourself, as you said earlier, there is that sense of autonomy, of self-agency that we have. But as Dr. Campbell said, on paper, our classification is really one of simply being just a bureaucratic category, which is not a reality. And so when you go through these phases, and I would say that for many of our young African American, let me just go ahead and put the current bureaucratic spin on it,
Correct.
have not undergone that sort of renaming, as Dr. Campbell and myself, or let me just put myself, I don't want to put Dr. Campbell in there. I'm not going to shout
Age her
out a
out right
woman's
there.
age on me, right? Yeah, and do violation. But for those of us of a certain age, remember not just the external fight, but the internal destabilization that it caused, coming from colored
Yeah.
to black
Yeah.
to African American. And let's not forget, we all started as niggers and then Negroes before we got to colored and black. So in all of those, we see that what, and in researching this, ended up encountering a word I did not know, and that is when you talk about this renaming that takes place, it is called heteronomy, which is the opposite of autonomy. Autonomy means I control. Heteronomy, like heterosexual, means other.
They, yeah.
So now someone else is given authority over my agency, authority over my sovereignty, which is at its core. Because now that I've been classified, my classification now determines what I now have access to, determines where I live, determines how much money I made, or what my labor is worth. And so when you begin to go through this constant reclassification, and I like the way you started this with W.B. Du Bois, who called this this dual, what is it? He called it dual consciousness, which is the ability, as Du Bois was seeing this. Remember, Du Bois being the talented 10th, and the argument between Du Bois and Booker T. Washington about how Negroes should find sovereignty. And Du Bois started with this talented 10th, that we should now begin to see ourselves through the eyes of a society that has described us while maintaining this self perspective about ourselves. And so we see that Du Bois, while he started that, like many of our leaders, began to move away from that. And as you said, I mean, Du Bois ended up to the point that he said, if I'm going to maintain my autonomy cannot be maintained on this land.
There you
go. Sovereignty goes even deeper into not just who I am, it's where I settle.
Yeah.
It's where I grow.
Yeah.
It's where I invest. And so when we look at at the Negro in America, his investment has been high.
Mm.
The return on that has been lack,
Not.
has been insufficient,
Mm.
and now we see them coming back for the coupons.
Right.
Mm.
Right. And that's the ones we get in the mail, not the one in the Sunday paper.
Mm.
I just want y'all to know that it is management, just like he said. The repeated renaming is not just vocabulary. That's management, y'all. I need the
Mhm.
audience really to hear what Perry said. It is management, y'all. If a people cannot hold on to a stable historical identity, they can be made to chase whatever category the system offers next.
And it sets
And
up a
I'm not
distrust. It sets up a distrust amongst the people too.
Exactly. And I'm not saying every name is worthless. Negroes carry history.
Mm-mm. Mhm.
Black carries political fire. African Americans, like Perry say, it carries a cultural and a diasporic claim. Moorish identity carries a nationality and spiritual restoration argument for many people. The indigenous identity, it carries land, memory, and prior presence in this country. Creole identity. Hey, I'm one. It carries cultural, bloodline, geography, and history that America often flattens because it does not know what to do with mixed colonial, African, indigenous, French, and Spanish histories. Mind y'all, all them people is all the same people. All that's all the same people. All that was all one nationality at one time. Black Indian identity carries a buried history that the book Black Indian, uh, written by William Katz and others, spent years trying to bring back to public memory. I hear a lot of people say my grandmother is Native American or my grandmother was an Indian. But when the state, schools, media, employers, census forms, grant applications, political campaigns, and institutions keep shifting on how they describe us while refusing to return what was taken, then the label can become a cage. If you, I mean, and is if you think about it, it can make us argue over what to call ourselves, while the land still gets sold right under our feet, while the
Mhm.
district while our voting districts get redrawn. And here, the schools here lately uh, is poised to close, um, while the businesses go underfunded, institutions get weakened, the cemetery gets neglected, or even demolished at official hands. Stop playing with me. While the community becomes a case study, somebody else's grant on our woes. They get the grant on our woes. Oh, we engage with them. So psychology, repeated renaming can produce confusion and has produced confusion. But spirituality, it can produce hunger. And at some point, a people starts asking, who were we before the paperwork started?
Mhm.
Who are we beyond the ballot box? Who benefits most from us never answering that together? And another one I would definitely add is who is scared of us remembering that our people were not just enslaved laborers, but builders, farmers, helpers, scouts, maroons, Seminoles, soldiers, organizers, uh, spiritual people, water people, land people, mound people, and nations inside and alongside nations. I just want y'all to know that's where I'm at with that one. Dustin, you ready for your shot?
Yeah.
Indeed. Le brother, if sovereignty means self control, how sovereign can a people be without economic independence?
Well, you can Achieve
They hate.
sovereign control
Okay, go ahead.
over your mind. You can see it over your mind, your daily actions, your personal ethics, but financial reliance on the employer, the state, market limits your ultimate freedom. And that's how the game is designed. They can't allow the people to make too much because then the
Mm,
banking system is going to fold
mm.
because the lack of loans are going to be a problem if people are making the money where they don't even need that loan. They must limit the availability of land. That's why
Yes.
all of a sudden all these apartments pop up every time there's a little stitch of land that's by itself. They got to put a house on it. They got to put apartments on it because if land is available, people could get land and they can learn to feed themselves. They learn to feed themselves. That means they won't be eating the poison that they sell
Come
in the
on now.
stores, calling it a Happy Meal.
Come on.
So now, if people being able to feed themselves and not eating their food, now the medical field is going to crash. The insurance industry is going to collapse because the money ain't in the cure; it's in the medicine.
Come
Mm-hmm.
on.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Dustin. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that is where the rubber meets the road right there. A lot
Right
of people
there.
want sovereignty in language, but dependency in practice. And that does not work, y'all. That doesn't work.
That's
If
right.
you do not control food, land, housing, schools, business, banks, credit, uh, trade skills, technology, uh, safety, and institutions, then your sovereignty is fragile, very fragile, just like America's democracy.
Mm.
If emergency sends you back to to systems that do not respect you, then you are not free in a way you think you are. I want you to understand you are not free. If every grant, especially grant denial, can stop your organization, if every bank refusal can kill your business, if every landlord decision can displace your family, if a school board lean in, Beaumont, Houston, Port Arthur, lean in. If a school board decision can miseducate your child, if every police budget decision, and lean in a little bit more, Beaumont, or fire department decision can be can determine your neighborhood's atmosphere, if every election leaves you begging somebody to remember you, your block, your family, then we have to be honest. That is not sovereignty. That is managed survival. And managed survival is still management. I just want y'all to know. Stop being managed. So, yes, identity matters. But like Dustin said, economics tests identity. Land tests identity. Institution building tests identity. If a people cannot fund its own future, somebody else will fund it for them on their terms, though. Are you really ready to run on somebody else's terms? And then when somebody else's funds the terms, they usually reserve the right to tell you what kind of freedom is acceptable or accessible to you. Now, I don't know if we're gonna do this guest shot.
I will.
Yeah, we fit to do it. We fit to do it. Chat and table. This is definitely for y'all. This shot right here got to go. It got to go down, and it's gonna go down smooth. What is the difference between nationality, citizenship, and political autonomy?
So here's
Anybody at the table?
so here's the breakdown in plain language.
Mm,
Nationality is who you are, your people, your culture, your roots. Citizenship is your legal membership in a country, your passport, voting rights, protections.
mm-hmm.
Uh, Political autonomy is how much real control your community has over its own decisions, laws, and daily life.
Mm-hmm.
You can have all three, but plenty of people have nationality and citizenship without real autonomy, meaning the big calls are still made by someone else. Watch
Yes,
out for now.
indeed. Yes, indeed. I appreciate that because this is where people need clarity, Dr. Campbell. Nationality, citizenship, sovereignty, autonomy, those words get thrown around, especially online. Like mean the same thing. Like they all mean the same thing. Or the people that's talking about it completely understands it. How about that? And they do not.
Mm-mm.
They do not. They do not. Hear me and hear me well. When a people confuse them, they put themselves in danger. Nationality, like she said, speaks to people who are belonging, identity, legal, or historical connection. Citizenship is your recognized relationship to a government, right?
Right.
Uh, Political autonomy is the ability to make decisions with real control, real teeth. Sovereignty is the highest question of authority, if you ask me.
Mm.
And here is where we have to be grown. Just like Dr. Campbell mentioned, claiming identity does not automatically create legal immunity. Perry said it, Dustin said it, and I'm going to say it again. Calling yourself a national does not automatically exempt you from courts, taxes, traffic laws, contracts, criminal law, property law, or government jurisdiction. I just want you to know. Courts have repeatedly rejected modern so called sovereign citizen theory that claims individuals can opt out of law through special documents or language. Courts have treated those theories as legal, baseless, not as hidden keys to immunity. So we need to separate two things. The search for identity is legitimate. Yes. The search for self-determination is legitimate. Yes. The question of nationality is legitimate. Yes. But the need to reclaim buried Black, Indigenous, Moorish, Maroon, and diasporic history is legitimate. Yes. But I definitely want y'all to know confusing identity with immunity can get people harmed, jailed, fined, or played. And as y'all know here at the table, we do not like folks playing in our face. And for one, I'm not interested in getting our people hurt chasing fantasy when the real sovereignty work is already hard enough. Being who we are without just in the space we are is hard enough. We need identity, yes, but we also need law literacy. We need land literacy. We need money literacy, political literacy, institutional literacy, and spiritual grounding. I just want y'all to know. So don't go seeking sovereignty and you still not a good steward of what you got already. Who ready to put me up?
If the Constitution once counted us as fractions, then criminalized our movement,
Mm,
then surveilled our leadership,
hmm
what relationship are we actually supposed to have with this state?
Man, man, we're supposed to have a disciplined, suspicious, strategic, legal, l- literate relationship with this state. I'm gonna say that again. Disciplined, suspicious, strategic, legally literate relationship with this state. Not fantasy, not blind patriotism. Dustin told y'all about that a few shows ago. Not blind rebellion. Dr. Campbell told us a whole bunch of shows ago. It has to be decent, done, and in order. Um, Discipline. It has to be disciplined because the Constitution has not always been innocent toward us, mind you. This country once counted enslaved people as fractions, like Dr. Campbell said, for political appointments. If you're not, if we could go back 3/5 of a fraction. Now we may be 1/3 of a fraction.
Try one
For
fifth.
yeah, y'all good because I was giving them a third. 1/5 as fractions for a political appointment while denying their humanity. After slavery, the black movement was criticized or criminalized through black codes, vagrancy laws, convict leasing. What's his name? Uh, Jim Crow, policing and state violence. When black leaders became organized, it was watched, infiltrated, disrupted, discredited, and sometimes even destroyed from the skies. Hmm. COINTELPRO targeted civil rights leaders, Black Power, anti-war, and liberation movements through surveillance, infiltration, discrediting, and even disruption. I mean, the entire block was disrupted from the from the skies up. So, what relationship are we supposed to have with the state? You asked, Dr. Campbell. We do not have the luxury of being naive. I just want you to know.
That's right.
But we also do not have the luxury of being reckless. We need to know the law. We need to use the law, challenge the law, document the law, expose when the law is applied against us, build institutions that can survive beyond one election.
Just don't trust the referee because they keep changing the rules.
Or teach
Or
our
the
people to be that
goalposts.
referee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teach our people to be that referee, be that citizen without leverage, leaves you begging for protection from the same system that has harmed our people before. And before you. How about it? So no, I don't tell our people to ignore the state.
No.
I will definitely tell our people to stop being ignorant about the state.
Keep your guards up.
Because like I said a few episodes ago, they get close to us to extract the power. Power, respect, organized power, not confusion. A confused people can be scattered. A legally literate, historically grounded, economically disciplined, spiritually rooted people, man, that becomes the civil rights of the 60s. Because some of y'all right now is scared to bleed from a paper cut. File the paperwork. File the paperwork. Y'all ain't trying to go out there and march. Chat question number one. I told y'all I was gonna get in. I was gonna get in my feelings. Chat question number one. What matters most for real sovereignty? What matters most for real sovereignty? Put a one in the chat for land. Put a two in the chat for economics. Put a three in the chat for political power. Put a four in the chat for cultural identity. Drop your number. I'm dropping that in the chat. Anybody on the table want to respond to that?
All four matter, but if you're forcing a choice, we're going to say economics. Because without economic independence, land can be taken, political power can be bought or pressured, and cultural identity gets marketed or mocked. So control the resources, like Destin said earlier, and you control the leverage for everything else.
Absolutely. Anybody else got a number? I would say two. That's mine. I go to number two first. I need the money to buy the land. I
That's what
need the
it
money to
is.
buy the politician. I need the money to buy I don't need money for my cultural appropriation. It's already appropriated and identified, but I don't need that. So that's a savings for us, if you will.
Mhm. I said
Round,
economic
round table
And,
independence.
question number one. Right.
uh,
Round
and,
table
and, and
question
if
number
we're gonna
one.
put a
Go ahead, Perry.
spiritual, and if we're gonna put a spiritual or biblical basis on this, Bible says money answereth all things.
Bum, bum,
Had an
bum,
old
bum. We
bishop,
don't need no music.
We don't need no
Just
music.
saying.
money
We don't need
answereth
no
all
music.
things.
Yes, indeed. Round table question number one, table this for y'all. Um, can can a people truly be free inside systems that do not meaningfully control, that they do not meaningfully control? Can a people truly be free inside systems they do not meaningfully control? Dr. Campbell, you got the floor.
No. Freedom without control is just a longer leash. You can
Mm,
have rights, money, even a seat at the table, but if you don't set the rules, you're always one bad policy or angry mob away from losing it all. Real freedom means real power to decide for yourself.
indeed. Yes, indeed. Perry, you got the floor. You muted.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you good, buddy?
No. I think for many, we sometimes confuse comfort with freedom.
Mm.
So, can you live comfortably within a system? Yeah, you can find that place, but is that freedom? Are you truly free? And so, as you said, when you have a people who have been destabilized and now find at least some sense of equilibrium, they call that freedom when really they're just standing still
Man,
to avoid any disruption in their life.
golly. Dustin, you got the floor?
Boy, that weather cutting up out there.
Yes, it is.
So if I disappear, that's why. But anywho,
If it go black up in here, that's why.
I think you can build yourself a little bubble of freedom, a little bubble. But if you start living a little too free, too loud with it, they're gonna come knocking.
Bust your bubble.
And I mean, bust your bubble, your window, your eye, your head. I just want y'all to know. Be ready. Be ready. I will say no, not fully. And there's a reason, because the people can survive inside systems they do not control. We can survive. We see in it. We're actually seeing that happen right now. A people can adapt inside systems they do not control. We see that happening. We see adaptation across the board, not just amongst our cultural divides or our identities. A people can even succeed individually inside systems they do not control. But freedom, full, unmitigated freedom, that requires control. That requires control. Some of us not really ready to grab a hold of. If you don't control land, somebody can move you. If you don't control economics, somebody can starve you. If you don't control education, somebody can misname you, of course, or miseducate you. If you don't control media, somebody can manage you, or I'm sorry, narrate your entire story. If you don't control politics, they gonna manage you. If you don't control institutions, somebody can absorb your energy and redirect it. Um, I almost put them people out there. Let me not do that. Let me not do that. If you don't control burial grounds, um, even your dead can be displaced. If you don't control what's that? Documentation, archives, your memory can be edited. Trust me. And of course, if we don't control capital, as we see, it has been removed from us. Um, every one of our dreams can be denied by a loan officer who does not understand our people or our purpose. So no, I don't believe people can be fully free inside systems that they do not meaningfully control. They can be accommodated, tolerated, what we're going through now with the gerrymandered maps. We can be represented, we can be visible, but visibility is not sovereign. Tolerated is not freedom. And if I'm being honest, being allowed to sit inside somebody else's structure is not the same as being able to determine your people's future. So I just want you to know. Um, round two. Round two. We ready for round two. Um, Now we're going into the burning house. Y'all want to go into the burning house? Y'all, like they said on Dustin, like they said on what you call it. Y'all want to see a dead body? Round two. The The chaser for this round is the burning house, integration, proximity, and the price of entering without ownership. Um, Now, like I said, we're definitely going to talk about the burning house because near the end, Dr. King Jr. was wrestling with more than just lunch counters and voting rights. I want y'all to know. He was confronting materialism, militarism, economic exploitation, racism, poverty, capitalism without morale. Um, Miss Kelly told us that the few shows ago, capitalism is good, but it got to be right. You know what I'm saying? He was confronting a country that could pass civil rights laws and still, at the same time, in the same breath, leave black people economically trapped. That burning house warning that he gave us almost when he saw his life flash before his eyes, often remembered through Harry Belafonte's account of King's Fear. I don't know if y'all ever read that or heard it even because there's a song. Um, was not King's rejection rights. I just want y'all to know it was King's questioning what it means to integrate into a structure that is still burning, especially to keep us out of it. Because integration without ownership can become proximity without protection. And that right there is the conflict in round two. Perry, you ready for your shot?
Yes.
What did Dr. King finally realize about integration nearing the end of his life?
You know, when I saw that question, it took me back, Chris, to on YouTube. There's a sermon of Dr. King's. It's his last Sunday sermon at Riverside Church in Manhattan. And in that sermon, he talks about how nebulous time is.
Mm,
You know, that when it comes to, as you said, capitalism, when it comes to scientific and advancement, the technological advancements, the militarism complex that expanded exponentially in the Cold War. Um,
hmm
but
Which
when
wasn't
it
that long
came,
ago.
yeah, but when it came to the Negro, it was always this issue of it takes time.
Yes, sir.
And you find it
Hmm.
funny that John F. Kennedy came into office proclaiming that America would get to the moon. And within 10 years, even though Kennedy didn't see it, America did get to the moon. There are some
Hmm.
conspiracy theorists that say that's more Hollywood than reality, but in 10 years, it happened. uh, and Dr. King expounded on that by saying, what the civil rights movement had done was really engage America to begin to have a more global view. And so, but its view of in that global perspective was more from a technological and scientific approach and a capitalistic approach. You know,
Hmm.
trips to foreign countries no longer took weeks. It took a matter of hours. You know, our ability to work with the Soviet Union, with Sputnik, in terms of space exploration, those things happen. But as you said, when it got to the ethical part of their global perspective, their ability to use redlining perspective
Mm.
began their view of their global view was more of making the world a neighborhood.
Yeah, they hating a little bit.
Yeah, they wanted a neighborhood, a red line neighborhood, but the ethical approach says I can't make a neighborhood without brotherhood. And if we lack brotherhood, then then our perspective is just more one of grabbing power, continuing to oppress the disenfranchised, continuing to disenfranchise those who were partially or had proximity to power. And he ends that statement, I think, with in a very profound way. He says, if we don't learn to live together as brothers, we will all perish as fools. And that speaks to that burning hut symbolism. There's the old African proverb that says only fools argue while the hut is on fire.
They hating hard.
And that is just not so you can say it. And that is just not us speaking externally with our oppressors. That speaks more internally to us. That before we can even begin to approach our external factors, we must come together. And so
yeah, I figured they was gonna hate long enough and cut you completely off. They did you like they did you in Houston, and I know you at home. I know you at the house. They did you just like they did you in Houston because you was coming with that heat. You was coming with that smoke. But I definitely want people to know that question, and what Perry was getting at is the part people sanitize. That's the part people brush over or just want to throw bleach on. Let's put bleach on it, then they ain't gonna be able to tell that that's for them, right? We done removed the color out of it. The King freeze at I Have a Dream, because they freeze, they stop there at just that, because that version is easier to stomach for them and even manage for them. But the later King was talking about poverty, war, economic exploitation, militarism, and a nation with a sickness deeper than segregation signs. He was asking whether America had the moral structure to be just a house in the first place. And that matters because if integration only gets or gives us access to a burning house, we still have to ask who owned the house, who set the fire, who controls the exits, who's standing at the exit, who profits from the insurance policy. I know y'all got insurance policy. Why are people who helped build the house still being told to be grateful for a burning room, huh?
That part.
Make that make sense. That is why this conversation is not anti-integration. It is anti-delusion. Rights matter. Access matter. Voting rights definitely matter. Public accommodations matter. School access matter. But if access does not lead to ownership, protection, and power, then we have to ask what we really own, because the key to somebody else's house is not the same thing as the deed. And I want y'all to know it. Grab a deed. Grab a deed. Destiny, you ready for your shot?
Yeah.
What happens when inclusion comes without ownership?
Well, y'all know I like, the game of chess, so stay with me. Inclusion without control is relegating yourself from the back row to the front row on the chessboard. Basically, you're
Mm.
taking yourself from all the good pieces and you're becoming a pawn. So you basically signing you and whoever you bring with you in your including to the front line of being a pawn in the game. So now you only have hope of making it across the board without dying.
I did not mean to smile that big. Facts. When inclusion comes without ownership, you become a guest in somebody else's structure. I just want y'all to know. And guests can be welcome, guests can be praised, guests can be invited back. You can come back, but you better not overstay your welcome. And you damn sure better not ask for that deed.
I
Don't
guess in my
ask to
house, you
control
on a
the
clock.
deed. Doesn't say the guest does not set the rules. They do not decide the budget. You are a guest. Guests do not determine the future of the house. That is
You
what
can't even touch my
inclusion
remote.
without ownership does to a people. Man, you can't even control my radio. How about it? You heard the saying, never touch a black man's radio. Ever. It makes us visible though, but dependent. It makes us celebrated but insecure. It makes us present but not protected. It makes us symbolically included into the system, but we don't have no control. We become, especially as a people, we become proof that the system changed while the system still owns the land, the banks, the platforms, the courts, the schools, and the story. That's why we keep saying, I know for sure, I keep saying access is not the same as power. Being allowed in is not the same as being able to govern. Dr. Campbell said a few times, and I know us at the table said it a few times, either you are on the menu or you on the table, baby. I'm just saying. Dr. Campbell, you ready for your shot?
So ready.
Why are Black communities often invited into systems but excluded from controlling them? And I don't know if Perry is in the background or backstage, but um, Tony, we might want to check that out. Dr. Campbell, you had the floor.
Because presence is cheap, but power is expensive.
Mm,
So inviting black communities into a system gives it legitimacy, diversity points, and a quiet conscience. But controlling it, that means sharing the real levers, budgets, rules, land, enforcement. And systems rarely give up those without a fight. So you get the role, but you
mm,
don't get the reins.
hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. Even as it's storming right now here in Southeast Texas, and people that know me know that this is a nice facade while all that's going on. It's a nice facade, huh, Dr. Campbell? It's cute.
Yes, yes. Laugh loud, my friend. I know you want to
Yes,
cry.
indeed. That is the truth. But what she said in response to her shot is also the truth. Invite black people into the system and you can manage the optics. Transfer control, and now you have to share the power. Invite black professionals into the room and the institution looks diverse. Transfer capital, and now black communities build independent capacity. Transfer, I'm sorry, invite black voters to save democracy and the party looks morale. Transfer agenda power, and now politicians have to answer to us. I want y'all to know, invite black culture into the marketplace and brands look relevant. Transfer ownership, and now the culture no longer belongs to the companies using it. I want y'all to know that's the plan. That's the plan. That's why we are inviting or invited more than we are empowered. I want y'all to know systems know how to absorb presence. They fear control. They know how to put us on panels. They fear us owning the building. They know how to quote our pain, especially in the auspices of Martin Luther King. They fear us writing the policy. Look at the John Lewis Voting Rights Act still sitting up there, and we done lost the entire Voting Rights Act.
The whole act.
They fear us. Exactly. They fear us reclaiming the land connected to that history. And by God, America, we are that history. We are that history. The what time we got? Okay, I'm gonna do. We ain't gonna do the get shot on that one. Somebody pull me up.
Um, if the house is burning, why are we still fighting for better seats at the table instead of discussing who owns the structure?
um. Uh. Because we're trained to treat proximity as progress, or indoctrinated, like Dr. Campbell says, to treat proximity as progress. Uh, we're told if we get closer to alleged power, we will be free. Get in the school, get in the office, get in the boardroom, align yourself with the party, go to the church, get involved in the church leadership, get in the nonprofit arena or the nonprofit lane. uh, get in the what's that, the grant cycles, do them. Get in the political photo, just stand on side of it if you can, shake their hand, get in the room. That's all you need to do. And yes,
Mm-mm.
sometimes getting in matters, but if you get in and never ask who owns the structure or is it for sale, you may spend your whole life negotiating seating arrangements inside of a building you do not control, you do not own, you do not. That's you just renting. You just showing up. That's what I mean by the burning house, y'all. If this structure we know as democracy or and America is structured morally on fire, then a better seat is not enough. If the structure was built on exploitation, then access is not enough. If the table was built from stolen labor, then the invited to sit at the table does not settle the debt. I, I want you to know, put some money in my hand instead of creating another side pocket for you to funnel money to those individuals that you say are upset and were targeted as political pundits. Again, at some point, we have to stop asking only for seats and start asking about the deed, the titles, the budgets, charters, land, institutions, law, and enforcement. Because clearly, the law and order we keep hearing about is lawfulness, but under a particular order. Who owns it? Who controls it? Who benefits from it? Who can change it? Who can shut it down? Who can fund it? Who can redirect it? That's the questions. Who can inherit it? That is the sovereignty questions, y'all. Because people fighting for better seats while the house still burns may still burn with the house. So, yes, fight for access where access matters, but do not confuse access with liberation. We need ownership, exit plans, institutions, leverage, land, law, economics, and memory. And we need, hear me and hear me well, because it's a bunch of y'all cowards out there. It's a bunch of y'all cowards out there calling yourself what they say they is conservative. Pass me up with that, because we need the courage to ask whether the house we fought to enter was ever designed to hold our freedom. Chat question number 2. What weakens Black sovereignty the most? Put a 1 in the chat for economic dependency. Put a 2 in the chat for political division. Put a 3 in the chat for historical ignorance. Put a 4 in the chat for leadership capture. Drop your number. Anybody want to drop a number at the table? What's your number at the table?
Economic dependency.
Nobody got it.
I said economic
I see that
dependency.
too. I see that too. I see that too.
all,
I just definitely want people to know. Go ahead, Dr. Campbell.
all the unity, history, good leadership in the world can't protect you if you depend on someone else for jobs, housing, land, and capital. When your
Big.
survival,
I just want you to know.
I know, right? when your survival relies on the same system that limits your power, every other weakness gets magnified. So fix the
Right.
economics and you can afford to fix the rest. Stay dependent, and even your best leaders are just negotiating how tight the leash is.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
When you stay dependent.
I saw a 4. Let me see. I see a 3. I'm seeing 4s. I'm seeing a lot of 4s. These are not separate. I just want y'all to know. 1, 2, or 3 is not separate. Historical ignorance makes leadership capture easier. I just want y'all to know. Leadership capture makes political division worse. Political division protects economic dependency. Economic dependency keeps the whole cycle breathing. There y'all go. That's it. So choose your number wisely. Roundtable question number 2. Did integration create equality or just proximity to the power? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Proximity, not equality. Integration got Black people closer to the rooms where decisions are made, but rarely put them in chairs that matter. You can sit next to power, work for power, even vote for power, but owning it, that's still the exception. So yes, proximity
Yeah.
happens, but proximity without control is just window dressing.
What you say? That's a balance.
Like a curtain.
Oh, wait, a sheeted curtain or
A
a
sheet.
store-bought curtain?
A sheet. You got
Over
to
the door.
control it, baby. Proximity ain't no good.
A sheet over the door. Perry, you got the floor. You got the floor.
Okay. I'm sorry. What was that?
The roundtable question is: did integration create equality or just proximity to power?
Apologies, Perry. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
throw y'all.
That's I'm being messy, Perry.
No, I have to agree with Dr. Camper. It's it gave us the illusion of proximity to power. You know, even electing a Black president is an illusion to proximity to power.
Say it.
A Black governor is an illusion, as the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, putting a Black face on a white reality.
Yes.
That's the stairs putting lipstick on the pig.
Trying to tell you.
That's it. That's it for
Trying to tell
me.
you. Dustin, you have the floor.
Yeah, hold on. Pardon me. I gotta work all this with one hand because this big baby over here don't like thunder.
Oh yeah, mine's sitting at my feet too.
Let's see. I think it gives the illusion of equality and proximity to power, but what it's really doing is leaving the back door open and unlocked after you to show them all your valuables.
Would you say they can get in through the doggy door? And it's not even the size of your dog.
And
I
we
just
talked
want y'all to
about that.
know, yes, ad nauseum, almost.
Hmm. Yes. They take our culture
I
and
just
sell
want
it
y'all to
back to
know
us.
3 times, threefold. Let's say it like that, threefold. Um, Integration. I want y'all to know integration created access. Yes, it did. Hold on, let me put my little camera back on because I let me get down. All right, thank you. Integration created access. It did. It did not automatically create equality. I just want y'all to know that. And it definitely did not automatically create power. For some individuals, integration opened doors. That matters. That 100% matters. We should not minimize that at all. People fought, bled, marched, sued, organized, and died to break these doors open. But as a collective, we have to be honest. Access without ownership left us vulnerable, entire communities vulnerable. We got into schools, but not always control over the curriculum. We got into neighborhoods, but not always protected from displacement. We got into jobs and careers, but not always ownership of firms or institutions. We got into politics, but not always had access or control of the agenda, right? We got into markets, but not always control of capital. We got into churches, nonprofits, universities, corporations, and government offices, but many times we entered into those structures whose foundation did not change just because our faces appeared inside of them. America. So, did integration create equality? Not by itself. It created proximity to systems that still required pressure, ownership, and structural change. If we stop at proximity, then we're standing near, almost near power, while still depending on somebody else to use us for clickbait or use us for it in its entirety. Um, that's not freedom, y'all. That's conditional access with better lighting. I just want y'all to know. I just want y'all to know. Um, round three, round three, round three. The chaser for round three is what does self determination look like now? What does self determination look like now? Real sovereignty, not fantasy law. Um, let's see. In 2026, people are asking these questions again. What is sovereignty? What is nationality? What is self determination? What does freedom look like when Black wealth gains or wealth gains gaps remain, especially like massive. Voter suppression debates continue. Surveillance on our communities, uh, technology, or uh, the surveillance of our communities, technology expands. Uh, then we got artificial intelligence that's currently reshaping labor. Um, Incarceration disparities remain, especially against people of color. And many Black communities still lack stable ownership and institutional control. So, Dustin, that brings me to your shot. What would modern sovereignty actually require in political terms?
It will require the 40 acres and a mule showing up.
Begin
It,
with.
it will require fair lending practices. It will require payments of past work, suffering, abuse, and death. I'm gonna say it that way because y'all don't like that reparation
Obviously,
word.
they
So
don't like reparations. They don't like it. They don't like it.
I'm just put it that way since that
I
reparation
like the
word
way you put it, little brother.
so triggering.
Yeah. when it's concerning us, when it concerns us, yes, you're absolutely correct. That's triggering. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's what it
Um, Golly. Mm. practicality, if y'all want, if we could, if I can, because sovereignty that cannot survive Monday morning is just another slogan. I want y'all to know that modern sovereignty requires food systems, land trust, business networks, trade, training, mutual aid is organized and not chaotic. Um, I said it before: legal education, security awareness. Dustin told us before: blocks are in blocks for a purpose. Security awareness, civic training, family property protection. Blocks are in blocks for a reason. Independent media, blocks are in blocks for a reason. Health infrastructure, emergency plans, conflict resolution, disciplined voting strategies. Blocks are in blocks for a reason. It is not enough to say we are sovereign. Can we run anything? Can we protect anything? Can we fund anything? Teach anything? Feed anybody? Move information? Defend our elders? Train our children? Can we negotiate with the same government from a position of organization? Can we form cooperatives, if you will? Because if you're paying attention, like I've been paying attention, you're gonna have to get into one here soon.
Mm.
So I mean, can we keep family land? Can we preserve cemeteries? Can we document our own history, especially one that's not appeasing to the oppressor? That's modern sovereignty, not fantasy not a fantasy escape from reality. I just want y'all to know a disciplined confrontation with reality. That's what this is. Dr. Campbell, you ready for your shot?
Ready?
How do we separate serious nation building from performative online ideology?
Easy. And nation building
Mm-hmm.
costs you something.
Mm-hmm.
Performative ideology costs you nothing but a retweet. So the serious work means owning the land, not just posting maps, moving money, not just manifestos, showing up to the zoning meetings, not just the Zoom calls, building things that work when the Wi-Fi goes out. Let's build
Correct.
community here. So if the plan dies when the hashtag stops trending, it was never a plan at all. It was just a mood. No,
Probably
huh?
a moon mood, ain't there? Probably a moon mood, a red moon mood.
Mm,
Because y'all, that's critical.
that's
Online
critical.
ideology can feel powerful while producing nothing. And I do mean nothing. A person now can now know all the terminology and still not know a daggum thing on how to organize a block.
Mm,
They can quote nationality, language, and still not protect family land.
mm,
They can talk about sovereignty and still not build a business or invest in one. They can talk sovereignty and reject citizenship language and still not depend on every system they claim to be above. That
mm,
is performance. Serious nation building or nationality building produces structure, schools, funds, legal clinics, um, community land trusts or land strategies, archives, business, food systems, political education, spiritual grounding. And Perry said it earlier: spiritual grounding,
mm,
especially when we lose discipline across intergenerational parties. Who's protecting the elders? Who's protecting the young? Who's building the archive? Who's buying the land? Who creating the funds? Nobody's teaching law. Nobody is feeding the block in mass.
mm.
Nobody's documenting the cemetery with the exception of one group named Historic Sacred Spaces. Don't worry, we'll wait. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's the test, like Dr. say. So the test is the fruit. what do it build? What do it protect? What do it teach? What do it fund? Does it preserve anything? Does it put us in an organized situation? If not, it only gives people language but no structure. It is not nation building. That is identity theater, if you will. So Perry, I'll pull you up.
Yes, let's go.
What systems what systems most fear economically independent black communities?
Um, I
Mhm.
won't I won't say a specific what specific system, but I will say the system itself
Mm,
fears an economic dependent black community. You alluded to it several times throughout the show, uh, in referring to COINTELPRO, uh,
mm,
the increased surveillance of black communities speaks to a fear of not blacks um, coming together and building an armed insurrection. We know what party and what group uh, is constantly thinking about an insurrection. But what the system
mm,
itself fears is us building at all.
mm.
Uh, it saw us build. It saw with Fred Hampton. It saw us build free breakfast programs and saw us
Yes.
engage in political education and develop coalitions across racial lines.
Yeah.
Uh, and so we saw as a result of COINTELPRO what they thought about that. But even before Fred Hampton, we can look
Mm.
back at Tulsa,
Yes.
and we can
Mhm.
also look at
Beaumont.
Durham. Beaumont, we can look at Durham. In Durham, that
Yes.
was the oldest and first insurance and bank
Yep.
for
Correct.
blacks. And so the system itself fears uh, us coming together, but more so it fears the economic independence we would share. Uh, uh, you don't have to look any further again after World War II with the GE bill and how uh,
GI Bill.
the GI bill, right? And how it helped build the middle class at the exclusion of blacks.
Correct.
And inherent into that was the redlining because America understood that in order to appreciate for white middle class to get an appreciation on their property values, it had to come at the exclusion of black families and black advancement.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Uh, uh, and so there's this ideal that um, black poverty is what uh, the system fears, and it doesn't. The system does not fear
Mm.
black poverty. In fact, it relies on black poverty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It depends on black dependency in
Yes.
order to thrive. And so when we look at it's not accidental.
Mm.
Uh, when we look at uh,
Mhm.
our political independence, we've seen uh, alliances that were weaker than the paper that they
Mm.
were written on.
Wow.
We
Tissue.
see agreements uh, You spoke about the Black Indians, William Katz, and how many of the indigenous tribes sided with the Confederacy. And the Confederacy said, well, any deals you had with the United States is no longer valid.
Mm-hmm.
And so after the Confederacy loses, and now they come back to the Union, and the Union says, no, we're going to take all your land because you didn't fight with us. And so we find us between a rock and a hard place.
Mm-hmm.
And so what it says is that when we build on our own, that struggle is ever going, because the system, like we've all said, the system will see it grow, it will destroy it, and then repurpose it for its own uses and
Damn
sell
right.
it back to us at a discount rate and subpar treatment.
I agree, because every system that profits from dependency fears Black economic independence, and that was something that you said initially. Was they want you scattered brain, they want you impoverished, because you know we see it. Instead of they want you that way instead of independent, because predatory lenders fear it, um, exploitatory landlords, they fear it. Political machines, whether it's Republican, Democrat, non-partisan, they fear it. Corporate marketeers, they fear it. Prison economies fear it. Especially looking at the number of how many of us is in there. Yeah, they fear it. Low-wage employers, they fear it. Um, Extractive developers fear it. Schools that miseducate or line their pocket with taxpayers' dollars per week feel it. Yeah, yeah. Parties that rely on automatic Black turnout, they fear it. But most of them know that there's not going to be anything collective amongst the people. So you know, once a community can fund itself, feed itself, house itself, educate itself, and defend itself,
You messed up their
as
leverage.
well as its interests, it becomes harder to manipulate. Exactly, Dr. Campbell. A broken community can be compromised. A dependent community can be threatened. But an economically organized community can negotiate.
That's
That is
right.
the difference. It is the difference
That's
between being courted and being respected. It's a difference between being targeted and being negotiated with. if the if it is a difference, find one, because I do believe there is one. A big difference between being a demographic and being a power block. So I just want y'all to know that. Who gonna pull me up?
Let's see here. I was ready for that mouth question. Okay, if sovereignty starts in the mind
Oh, my
before it,
bad. I'll go back. You want that guest question? I'll let you have it. Guest question. This for all involved. All involved. Guest and all. Chat, everybody. What lessons from Dubois, Malcolm, Noble Drew Ali, and Fred Hampton, I'm sorry, still apply right now?
since you asked,
Anybody?
from, from Dubois, the color line still divides, but today
Mm,
it's digital and financial. Study the real
mm-hmm.
mechanics of control, not just the symptoms. From Malcolm, by any means necessary still means protecting yourself, your mind, and your money, because no system hands you freedom out of guilt. From the noble Drew Ali, build your own identity and your own institutions first. Don't wait for recognition from the same people who erased you.
Correct.
And from Hampton, unity across lines, race, class, gang, color, but not abstract unity. Unity with a plan,
Mm,
a land
mm.
trust, a food bank, a free clinic, and a way to say no together. All
As
four
a
agree
collective.
on one thing: theory is
Yes.
good, but organization wins. Now I'll pour you up.
Absolutely. Not till I answer, because I want a little taste of that myself. That tasted good. Um,
Yeah.
I tell you what I hear across all of them. Dubois teaches teaches that double consciousness is not just personal pain. That's not personal. Don't take that as something that you're the only one dealing with, because if that's the case, that would be a lie. It is political tension. Who are you when the nation makes you see yourself through its contempt? That's what Dubois told us. Noble Drew Ali teaches that identity matters because the people without self-respect and nationality uh, consciousness can be trapped inside slave labels. Malcolm teaches that the frame matters. The frame matters. Civil rights or human rights, domestic complaint or international indictment. Fred Hampton teaches that the city, county, state, and the states as a collective, also known as the United Ones, fear organized autonomy, especially when Black people build coalitions with
Together.
their counterpart. They
Mhm.
feed the children, educate the people, and
Mhm.
defend the community. And Mr. Katz, his the Black Indian book adds something else. If y'all read it, I got it from my big brother, and so I want y'all to have it too. So go get it. It's called The Black Indian, but go get that book because in America it has always been deeper than the categories handed down to us. I want y'all to know. It reminds us that Africans and indigenous peoples were not always separate stories. They were alliances, families, maroon communities, Black Seminoles, Afro indigenous lineages, and cultural survivals that America often buried because people with land memory, tribal memory, um, maroon memory, and African memory is harder to reduce to a labor category. Different lanes, different languages, different strategies, but the question underneath is the same, y'all. Will Black people remain managed populations or become self determining people?
Mm.
Mm. Now, pull me up, Dr. Campbell.
Oh, wait a minute. That's an imperative on none of that.
I don't know.
By
Period,
their
Dustin. Y'all didn't want to take no sip? Dustin say, nah, I'm
Nah.
hiccuping already.
okay, well, by their silence. If sovereignty starts in
I'm
the
gonna hold my little
mind,
corner.
Spirit say, I'm trying to stay sober as I possibly can.
okay. So if sovereignty starts in the mind before it reaches the land, what
Mhm.
has been done historically to disconnect people from both?
Everything, Dr. Campbell, everything. Everything has been done to disconnect us from mind to land. I
Mhm.
mean, like they disconnected us from names, languages, lineages, burial grounds, spiritual systems, kinship structures, land records, family property, history, maps, education, political memory. hell, economic continuity. Then on top of that, they had the audacity to teach us to measure success by how close we could get to the systems that broke the connection between us in the first place.
Yeah.
That is the psychological trap. That's what I want y'all to know. It's make a people landless, then teach them not to value land. Make a people nameless, then make them argue over labels. Make a people dependent, then call their dependency normal. Man, make a people politically loyal, then never, and I do mean never, transfer them power. Make our community and people spiritually fragmented, then sell us the same identity in pieces. They even try to make our people forget our institutions. We told y'all that on the last show with the HBCUs, then tell us, hey, y'all ain't got no structure. Make that make sense, because y'all ain't got no funding. Make that make sense, y'all. Make that make sense. They make a people or our people forget they're dead by building over the cemetery or not marking it at all. Make people forget their ancestries, where that, especially in the fact of who all we're connected to, the lineages that we connected to, our ancestors, Maroons, Scouts, Black Indians, farmers, organizers, builders, healers, midwife, wet nurses. I mean, fighters. And then at the same time, most of the times y'all labeled those individuals as rebel rousers. Then you had the man. Then you had the audacity to tell them same people they started as property and should be grateful for progress. Ooh, that is what has been done to our people, because sovereignty starts in the mind, y'all. Before you build land power, you have to know land matters. Before you build economic power, you have to stop worshiping access to somebody else's economy. Before we build political power, we have to stop confusing party loyalty with people's power, because that is not the same. Right. Before we build spiritual power, we have to stop letting systems, and I do mean systems, define our soul. Before we, but yeah, if sovereignty is where we want, if sovereignty stays in the mind and never reaches land, law, economics, education, and institution, then it becomes meditation without movement. Our people do not need another idea that makes us feel powerful while leaving us structurally exposed. We need a mind to corral land, spirit and energy, identity and institution, memory and movements. That's what we need, y'all. Chat number 3. What is the first step toward self-determination? What is the first step towards self-determination? Put a 1 in the chat for education. Put a 2 in the chat for economics. Put a 3 in the chat for organization. Put a 4 in the chat for spiritual and cultural restoration. While we answer that, I'm going to drop the roundtable question. What would it take for Black communities to move from symbolic influence to actual sovereign power? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor if you're not going to respond to that chat question. But go ahead.
I'm going to say the chat question is number 3, organization. Education without action is just trivia, and economics without unity gets picked off. So, and spiritual restoration without structure is just good feelings. So organization turns all of this into power, right? So the roundtable question. Okay. 3 shifts, no shortcuts. Okay. So you asked, what would it take for Black communities to move from a symbolic influence to actual sovereign power? Once again, 3 shifts. Stop asking for seats. Start owning the tables, build businesses, banks, and boards you control, not just roles inside their systems.
Mm.
Turn proximity into property, land, housing, commercial real estate, not just renting spaces in their economy, but owning the ground under your own feet.
That's it right there.
Yeah. Number 3, replace symbolism with systems.
Mm.
A holiday is
Our
nice, but a
own.
credit union that actually lends to your community is power. A street name is fine, but a community defense agreement that keeps your kids safe is sovereignty.
Mm.
Symbolic influence means they know your name.
Mhm.
Sovereignty power means they have to ask your permission to use it. There's a
Correct.
big difference between managing and owning.
Yes, indeed. Perry, you have the floor. Put that coffee cup down. You got the floor, Perry.
Somebody
Dustin, you got
resuscitate him.
Dustin, you got the floor. He dropped out. He probably was going through that loop. You know how they've been targeting Perry here lately. You too, Dustin. You better stop talking out loud.
Maybe
Sign language.
it would take people to come together and actually put in some work.
Mm.
It would take them to channel Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Come on here, boy. Railswood.
Jackson
Uh-huh.
Ward, Richmond, Virginia, or also known as the Harlem of the South, Parish Street, Durham, North Carolina,
Yeah.
Freemanstown. It would
Houston,
take
Texas.
you to pull from that to be able
Come
to
on.
get it done.
Yes, Dustin. You gonna feed us like that and then leave us high and dry, man?
That's
That's
how
how
it
you do.
goes.
Oh, I be loving it though. I ain't
Yeah.
lying.
Make us hang on for more.
Yeah, right. Make us go look for it. Go look
Yeah,
for it.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
get the rest of that information. Man,
And they
man,
can
Dustin,
Google
I
what all them
promise.
cities mean.
Yes, indeed. Including your own. Beaumont, Texas,
Mhm.
Jennings, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana,
Mm.
Austin, Texas, Houston, Texas, Baytown, Texas, Bonweir, Texas.
Mm, mm.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Let me respond to that question. It would take a complete, hear me and hear me well, shift from performance to infrastructure. If that is what we want, if that's what we're willing to take, we have the influence. Nobody can deny that. We influence music, language, fashion, politics, sports, faith, media, consumer markets, elections, global culture. But influence without infrastructure keeps making other people rich. It keeps making other people powerful. It keeps making other people relevant. And actual sovereign power requires us to organize that influence, that very influence that most of us trying to monetize on a platform, into institutions, land ownership, banks and credit unions, schools, trade programs, legal network, healthcare systems, food systems. Every last one of them got a franchise. And if not, create the business and then franchise it yourself. Food systems, independent media, research centers, political education, coalitions, archives, faith, family trusts, community land trusts. Dr. Campbell said it. We losing land by by the goo gobs like we on land Ozempic. And here it is, we still have no community land trust. And that's the only way we're going to be able to build youth pipelines and elder councils, spiritual discipline, burial ground preservation, neighborhood associations. And it's a struggle in getting those situated. Mutual aid systems, cooperatives. And, some people want to be a part of a co-op just so that they could get, not put in. Emergency plans and a voting strategy, y'all, that does not get archived or activated only when somebody needs us to save them. If we heard Miss Sandra, Attorney Sandra, a little while ago in our previous episode, they gonna have us to come save them anyway. That is the shift, y'all. From trend to territory, from visibility to ownership, from reaction to governance, from protest to institution, from protest to institution, from access to authority, from being courted by all these individuals, including our skinfolk, to being negotiated with. And I'm not saying it is going to be easy. Trust and hear me well. It is not easy at all. But I am saying it is necessary. Symbolic influence can make us famous. Sovereign power makes us free. I think Perry may be in the back. I'm not sure. But Dr. Campbell, Dustin, give me something that's gonna wrap us up for the rest of the week. And then I'll follow.
We've been talking about this burning house, so I'm going to say stop fighting for better seats in a burning house.
Hmm.
Start asking who owns the fire extinguisher and why don't you?
Mm, mm. Dustin.
Well, it's another Tuesday, so we back.
Yes, sir.
Instead of word of the day, we're gonna be phrase of the day, phrase of the week. And the phrase is one people like to use all the time, but often, gets it wrong because they are who they are. When it
Mm-hmm.
says, don't poke the bear, it has a meaning to deliberately provoke, annoy, antagonize someone.
Mm,
But due to America's shift of responsibility over the years, people
mm-hmm.
have failed to realize why that saying is talking about a bear in the first place. It could have said,
Mm.
don't poke the dog, don't poke the lion, don't poke this. The reason it said, don't poke the bear, because no one in their right mind sees a bear and think, I wants to mess with that.
Want to pick that dog?
No one thinks that. Everybody sees a bear and you automatically realize, I don't want no part of that.
None.
But for some reason, people have failed to realize the bear that people are talking about are people.
Mm.
Leave people the hell alone.
Man, please.
Because
Perry
just like you
backstage.
don't know what that bear gonna do to you, you have
Right.
no control over what people will do to you once you bother them.
Exactly. Exactly. Maul you.
And a bear
Like that
ain't
little,
gonna tell you twice.
at all. At all. At all. And they look meek when they coming up. They do. They really do. Look like, oh, can I bet that dog? Perry is backstage. I don't know if we can pull him up before. Let's see. Perry backstage. All right. So there you go. There you go. Perry, give me something to close us out for the week.
I'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before we close, I want to give each of you the accolades that you so deserve for being on this evening. Um, What is one truth I definitely want us to have gotten from this conversation is that we are the power. I just definitely want you to know, and I'll go back to that every time. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you because it's these kinds of conversations that can go off the rails if we let it. But tonight we are keeping it grounded. I definitely hope we were able to give you some identity with responsibility, some sovereignty with some structure, some truth without fantasy. Family Tonight was not about escaping reality, it was about confronting it. This episode did not, hear me and hear me well, did not tell anybody to ignore the law. It told us to understand the power behind law. It did not tell us it did not tell anybody to run behind internet paperwork. That's not what we said. It told us to build real self determination in our spaces. It did not tell us to abandon history. It told us to reconnect to it. The sovereignty question is not a joke. It is not a trend. It is not a costume, if you will. It is not just a YouTube or TikTok debate. It is the question our people keep returning to because the conditions keep forcing it back to the surface. Who are we in this country? Citizens with power or subjects under management? Did integration create equality or proximity? Did representation create control or visibility? Did access create freedom or dependency with better language? And what does freedom require beyond voting and visibility? By the end of tonight, I hope and pray um, you were able or somebody understood the difference between citizenship, nationality, autonomy, and sovereignty. I hope somebody saw this that the search for identity is legitimate, 100%. But fantasy, uh, immunity is dangerous. It's not real. It's fantasy. Some people connected to Du Bois, Noble Drew Ali, Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King, Fred Hampton, and several other individuals um, for records as different parts of the same unfinished question. Somebody realized that self determination is not just what you call yourself, it is what you can sustain. I hope somebody understood that land, economics, education, political literacy, cultural memory, and spiritual grounding are not separate. They are the architecture of freedom. Let me leave you with these things for the next 7 days. One, learn one piece of your family or community history that predates your current label. No internet mythology, real names, places, records, cemeteries, churches, schools, land, family, stories, public documents. Go to the library, your historic library. Go to the Catholic Church, especially most of them keep those records. Number two, audit your dependency. Ask yourself, which systems do you depend on that do not answer to you, your family, or your community? Number three, build one piece of structure. It could be a study circle, a saving circle, a community land trust meeting, a voter education group, youth mentorship lane, a business cooperative, legal literacy, a neighborhood archive, a cemetery documentation project, or just join historic sacred spaces. They're doing it. Start somewhere real, y'all, because sovereignty is not proven by what you shout. It's proven by what you build or what you have built and sustained. To my co-hosts, Dr. Catherine Campbell, Perry Busby, Dustin Harris, thank you for bringing your minds, your honesty, and your fire to this table. To our guests, um, when you're ready to step to the table, come on. It's always able. To every viewer and listener, thank you for sitting with the conversation that refuses to stay shallow. This has been episode 61, the sovereignty question. Until next time, you know who you are Definitely learn what the law actually says about you. Build what your people actually need. Stop confusing access with ownership. Stop confusing identity with immunity. Stop confusing visibility with freedom. And stop letting systems that renamed you convince you you're the only one left and you have the final word. And as always, stay prayed up, stay prayed up, stay prayed up. Thank y'all for watching. God bless. Good night. Now you can play the music.
He passed that on you a long time ago.
Nah, he just had some music
Now,
almost come up
the
there.
elevator on the bottom floor now. The elevator on the bottom floor. Music ain't playing.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.